Okay, so let's unpack this one. We've got a really interesting source today. It's a daily devotion titled Victory Through Christ, and it's really digging into insights from Revelation chapter 12.
Right, Revelation 12.
And our mission for this deep dive, basically, is to pull out the core message of this piece. So understanding the spiritual conflict it describes.
But crucially, the promise of overcoming it.
Yeah.
That's central.
Exactly, that promise.
And, right at the heart of it is that key verse, Revelation 12.1. It says, they triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death.
Wow. That
verse really kind of encapsulates the devotion's whole focus.
So for you listening in, what does this devotion suggest this ancient text means for your life, like right now? It seems to frame this not just as history, but as a very real present battle. What does the source actually say about that battle? And how it claims victory is, well, guaranteed.
Well, the devotion really breaks it down into, I'd say, two main ideas. First, it insists the primary battle is spiritual. Definitely spiritual.
Okay.
It interprets the imagery in Revelation 12, seeing the woman as God's people.
Right.
The dragon is Satan and the child is Jesus.
Yeah.
And the text describes the dragon attempting to destroy them, but being defeated, thrown down from heaven.
Thrown down, yeah.
But, and this is important, it says he's still active, still dangerous here on earth.
So the devotion's perspective is that the challenges we face, day to day, they have a deeper spiritual layer. It's not just circumstance, but this ongoing conflict.
Exactly. That's precisely the angle. And the source suggests this perspective has, well, practical implications for you.
Like what?
Like, it says you need to be aware of the lies, the things that try to pull you away from your faith.
Okay, makes sense.
It also mentions you should sort of anticipate resistance when you choose to follow Christ, but crucially not let that discourage you. And it points to the importance of community, surrounding yourself with other believers for support.
That makes a lot of sense, acknowledging the opposition, but emphasizing reliance on God and community.
Okay.
So here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The devotion doesn't just define the battle. It explains how it says we overcome. Can you kind of walk us through that from the source's viewpoint?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is key. It circles right back to that pivotal verse we mentioned.
Revelation 12.11.
Exactly. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony.
Right.
And the devotion is quite clear here. It's not saying you overcome by sheer willpower or by being perfectly strong in yourself. Not at all.
Because not about our strength.
No. Instead, it emphasizes triumph comes by completely trusting in Jesus' sacrifice, what it calls the blood of the Lamb.
Okay. Yeah.
And by confidently, boldly sharing your faith, your story about him, your testimony.
So the victory isn't something you achieve through your own effort, but something you participate in by relying on his finished work and then talking about it.
That's it.
The devotion uses the phrase, held by Jesus, which really seems to highlight that dependence, doesn't it?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Held by Jesus.
Yeah.
And it offers practical ways this overcoming, plays out day to day.
So?
Well, according to the text, when you feel weighed down by guilt, for instance,
right,
remembering that Jesus already paid it all through his blood, that's presented as a key way you overcome accusation.
Okay.
It also encourages you not to give up when life is difficult, viewing those tough times as moments where, according to the source, God is actively shaping you.
Right, that shaping aspect. And one point it makes that really resonated is finding joy in everyday faithfulness, suggesting that, consistent small acts of obedience and trust, they are themselves part of this victory in Christ, not just the big dramatic moments.
Yes, exactly. It ties it all together, anchoring everything in the truth that, from this devotion's perspective, the ultimate victory was already won by Jesus.
So let's recap this deep dive into the Victory Through Christ devotion. It really presents a powerful picture, doesn't it?
It does.
While it describes a very real spiritual battle, symbolized by the dragon against God's people, its central message is that Jesus has already secured the decisive victory.
The battle's won, essentially.
Yeah. And the devotion asserts that our role, your role in overcoming, isn't about mustering your own strength, but about stepping into that victory already won.
Specifically through trusting in Christ's sacrifice.
The blood of the Lamb.
And boldly proclaiming our faith, our testimony.
And it suggests this plays out daily as we rely on his payment for guilt, persevere through difficulties by trusting God's shaping.
And find triumph even in simple, faithful living.
It's a perspective that shifts the focus entirely, really, from our effort to his finished work.
Completely.
Okay, so here's something to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive. Food for thought.
If this source is right, and the ultimate victory is already decided through Christ, how might truly embracing that truth fundamentally change the way you approach the everyday battles and struggles you face?
That's a great question to leave things on.
Something to think about.